Hey, how's it going, everyone? Tuesday evening, and just gonna come on and shoot a video real quick, talk about a couple of things, I suppose. Just down here in the game room area, as I always am, looking at a few things. I'm still trying to decide exactly what I'm gonna do with some of the spaces. Something to distract your mind, take your mind off of things, different projects to work on, hobbies. Those are always nice, so I need to really get back on that. So many damn things, so many different things going on. It's been really hard to, but I'd like to soon. Just kind of surveying the scene here for a minute. Nice sunset, evening time, end of summer coming around here at the end of September, so enjoy it while you can. We're going to have those shorter days pretty soon. But, we're already getting to that point just a little bit. But, yeah, I don't know. College football, I love it. I woke up on Saturday morning and you just have that spark in your mind. Like, oh, it's the first day of the college football season. Wow. Felt like a little kid again. I love that feeling when you can just be enveloped by something you're so joyous about. That means so much to you. It's great. We have to have passions in life, and so it's always fun. I always love that first weekend waking up. And my dogs did pretty well, didn't they? My Badgers too. Salty, I think he left me a message on the image from Sanford Stadium. Oh, wow. Amazing when the red lights before the fourth quarter get going. It's quite the scene. 93,000 strong. Opening up the campaign with the dub. Yeah, boys, 14 more to go. Let's get that. Let's do that three-peat. Get that. It would be the 9th time Georgia's been named national champion. I guess 5th if we're counting the ones we count. Could count more of them, but let's get another. Let's do the three-peat. I think I remember last year, the opening day of the season, the game against Oregon. I was down here streaming, and I think Wisconsin guy, Salty, I think he was on there with me. I had Atletico de Madrid in here against, I think they were playing, who was it, Sociedad, and had the Georgia-Oregon game on the laptop and just chatting about it. But he's a Badger fan too, like me, so. Great. They got the W as well against Buffalo up there at Camp Randall. Such a great venue. Love it. So, I haven't been back up there in a long time, too. Hey, sorry, restarting. Had a phone call, and I'm filming with my phone, so no way around that. But yeah, as I was saying, that first game of the year last year when we were streaming, I think I was talking to him about all the... when I was at UW-Madison, I lived on State Street in the Towers, and that's a fun street. There's a lot going on there. And Badger games are awesome, too. I'm more of a Dogs fan, but still support the Badgers, too. Schools you go to, you always love them. And the teams, the athletic teams that represent the universities. So, yeah, funny thing is I have so Georgia and Wisconsin played each other twice in the past, 20 years or so in bowl games. It was the Outback Bowl, I think, and then the Capital one. And I've got a cup from souvenir plastic cup from, can't remember which one of them it was, but like a dream matchup for me would be a national championship game between the Georgia Bulldogs and the Wisconsin Badgers. Wisconsin's not quite on Georgia's level in terms of history and football prowess, but still a really, really decent Big Ten program. And, when the Badgers can win the Big Ten and get to the Rose Bowl, that's like a national championship for Wisconsin. So maybe one day, in 2017, if Wisconsin had beaten Ohio State in that Big Ten championship, they were undefeated, and they would have been in the CFP Final Four. Let's not rehash what happened with Alabama getting in unjustly, but man, we were close to potentially having a Georgia-Wisconsin matchup in the college football playoff. Georgia's going to be there for the duration, I think, but that was really the Badgers' big chance to get there. I'm not sure they'll ever be able to get back to that. We'll see. It's just really hard. The landscape of college football is difficult outside of a handful of teams, and you know they are: Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Florida State. You'd have to say this year, dang, they look pretty good. Maybe I'll talk about that, but yeah, just number one preseason ranking for Georgia. And we stomped UT Martin pretty good, 48-7. It's a Division II. It's an FCS opponent, right? We were kind of sleepwalking. Carson Beck's first game as the starter. Look, he's been at Georgia 3 years, so he hasn't really played meaningful football as a starting quarterback since he was winning a state championship back in 2018 in Jacksonville, where he's from. So, and I mean, you got to follow like the greatest dog of all time, Stetson, what he did. I mean, that guy just had nerves of steel. So I was expecting Carson to come out and be a little anxious and nervous and have a slow start, and he did, and he admitted as much. That's fine. He just kind of getting his feet wet, getting back into the swing of being a quarterback in a big position. I mean, you take the field at Sanford Stadium, two-time defending national champions here, in front of 93,000 on opening day, opening night, a night game, which we didn't even get one for. It's been a while since Georgia's gotten a night game, so that was cool. But I mean, in that atmosphere, you're gonna feel the butterflies and nerves if you're an athlete at any level. You know, you feel it. Even I felt it even back when I was a kid, right? So imagine what these guys are feeling on this big stage. I thought he did well, and we've got three good ones because if you think about it, with Gunnar Stockton and Brock Vandagriff, they came in and got snaps too, and they look good, man. We've got three very different quarterbacks. They have different skill sets, but I think they're all going to be used this year, and that should be fun to watch. But I'm really happy for Carson. He's waited so long. He's been a DGD, and to finally get the chance to start and, you know, perform reasonably well. Had a running touchdown, a throwing touchdown, and I threw for about 300 yards. Not a shabby performance at all. You have to also remember that Branson Robinson, the patella injury, he's out for the year. He's probably going to be our back number one. Kendall Milton, he's always been kind of battling injuries, right? So you can't really, I mean, I love the kid, but you can't really rely on him, I don't think, to be your number one back. And then Dejan Edwards goes down in camp too with an injury, so it's like we're really kind of limping into the start of the season. At wide receiver, you know, Jack Saint still out. Ladd McConkey, our best receiver, was out for the first game too. So we were kind of like the walking wounded, and we still put up 48-7, kind of sleepwalking through the game. So I think Georgia's going to be just fine. Alabama, like, I'm not a big believer in this Milroe guy, despite whatever happened against Middle Tennessee. We'll see. We'll find out about them when Texas come calling to Tuscaloosa. That should be a good game. But I rate Texas higher. I think Texas got a better team. There's more dudes on that team on both sides of the ball, and obviously Quinn Ewers is a better quarterback than Jalen Milroe. The X factor is the Tuscaloosa thing, right? It's a very intimidating place to go and try and win a game. Saban aura, it's still there, right? LSU looked awful, man. Kind of like, you know, I took my son to the SEC championship game last year, and I like Brian Kelly, Boston guy, you know. So, and I've never had any problems with LSU. I like the program. I like the colors. I like their fight songs. Tiger Stadium is awesome. If you love college football, you just love and you respect even opponents within your division. But LSU and Georgia have never been like, we've been pretty friendly. We've had some big clashes, but we're not each other's main rival. So anyway, my point is, I'm not a big believer in Jaden Daniels with LSU. I saw him live. I saw Jalen Carter pick him up and throw up one of the most all-time memorable moments. And then when Nussmeier came in, he kind of lit us up a little bit in the second half in that SEC title last year. So I'm thinking he's got to be the guy you start, BK. But not the case. We'll see what happens with LSU going forward. They dropped like a rock in the polls. Georgia, we retained the number one spot, as we should. Ohio State looked bad, man, because C.J. Stroud, he was so important. You could have Emeka Egbuka, Marvin Harrison Jr., all the best all-world, all-universe receivers. But if you don't have a guy to distribute the ball, and the guy had 0 touchdown passes, I don't know who their new quarterback is. but they dropped pretty significantly, several spots too. And the biggest surprise is Florida State looked like the Florida State of old. And Florida State's been down for a while, not something to fear, kind of something you laugh at. I don't think anyone's laughing at them. I know it's just right now. I know it's just one game, but that number 4, that transfer, that receiver they got in, and that Jordan Travis, dude, he's a junior now, and he looks like the real deal. Too early to say Florida State's back, but they got a big push there, and they got moved up to number 4 in the AP. So it's what is it? Georgia's 1, of course. Michigan. Did Michigan drop to 2? Or drop to 3 and Alabama moved to 2? And then FSU is 4. That's what the AP is. The main thing I'm focusing on after week 1 is that Georgia still is number 1. We retained that spot. So fun. You wake up, you're like a little kid again on Saturday morning, college football season. I don't know. I don't see too many dominant teams our dogs are pretty stout. It's going to be hard for anyone to stop number 19, Brock Bowers. So it's kind of like a weapon. Like I said, I always say the Swiss Army knife. He's the best player in the world. Those 4 that you see in the top 4 of the AP right now, that might be the Final 4 in the CFP. Those are probably the 4 best teams. And I kind of don't think that's going to change throughout the course of the year. But it's fun. We love it. And we're going to watch it and enjoy it for, the next 4 months here. And dogs on top. 3-peat. Let's go, boys.